Brain talk.
Previously, we talked about Crossways, and that was one of the meeting places in the city back in the day for the clan. But there were probably other meeting places, and one that comes to my mind is Timezone. Maybe some people don't know what Timezone is. So, can you explain what was Timezone?
So when you were talking about Crossways, Crossways is kind of like just a get together where we'd show photos, and I'd show the letters we got to the PO box during the week. And, you know, after it, we might go and do stuff, but it wasn't really, it was just a sort of a catch up, get together. After it, we'd normally go have a couple of beers or whatever. Timezone was where we'd meet when we were having an expo, when we were going to go exploring. It's a franchise, or was a franchise, of pinball parlors or video arcades. The one we used to go to was across the road from Flinders Street, and they have the old pedestrian subway that goes from Flinders Street to to those cafe arcadey things across the road.
With the tiles that say "Do not spit."
Yes, yes.
Do they still have them?
Yes, they do actually.
Okay, but there's no more Timezone. I take it.
No. I don't know if people will find this interesting, but it's interesting in how easy it is now to send a group text to 20 people or whatever, or even, you know, in a chat on WhatsApp or whatever. I'll try and keep it quick, but this is basically how I used to plan an expo. Basically, Thursday after work, I would get on my bike and I would put all my washing in a basket. I'd ride my 10-speed racer down to the laundromat on High Street.
A Malvern Star or a Rally?
Good question. Not a Malvern Star, so I'm not sure. I'd chuck my washing in the washing machine. I would go next door. There was a pizza shop. This is just near Separation Street for people that want to go and, you know, worship these locations. I'd order a pizza. Then I would walk up to the High Street post office, and there was like 4 phone boxes there. Back in the day, there used to be phone boxes everywhere. Normally 1 or 2 would be vandalized. Then I had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 phone numbers, and I would just get all these coins, and I'd ring, I don't know, say Gilligan, and I'd say, Gilligan, we're going to go on an expo. We're meeting at Timezone at 11 o'clock. And then he would ring, you know, Trinity and Vandal and, you know, his crew. You know, maybe I'd ring Wes, and he might ring you, like Dunit and whoever. And I'll ring Crit. So I'd ring all the parts of the clan, like East Clan, the Southern guys. Then I would go back to the laundromat, chuck my washing in the dryer, and get my pizza and enjoy a pizza, knowing the weekend's planned, my washing's clean, and I'm enjoying a pizza. The good thing about Timezone was if people were running late,
you could play Pac-Man.
You could play Pac-Man. So you'd often go in and sometimes you'd be the first one there, but you might see, you know, Rusco playing a video game. You go up and start talking to them and all that, and then you might go play a game or some shit. Yeah, and that was before we just started. I think later we ended up just starting to meet at pubs and things like that.
So no chickens in Timezone?
No. I think actually Timezone was pre-chickens.
Yeah, okay.
The chicken thing only happened so after Harry's, we'd go and just buy these old, what they call stewing chooks.
From the Victoria Market?
Yep, from the Victoria Market. And then we'd give them one last taste of freedom. We would let these chickens go, and then the RSPCA would come and get them, which I've got some videos there. I'll try and chuck some up. We said, what happens with these chickens? And they said, they're just taken to a farm, and, you know, they'll just live there until they die. You know, for the animal liberationists out there, we were actually giving these chooks a second, you know, chance at living a full life, which is quite rare for a chicken.
And I guess in clan terminology, that'd be known as japes.
Japes, yes, which comes from Viz Comics.
Well, I might touch on japes a bit later on as well. But getting back to Timezone, I'd like to share a memory. So the new video game was Star Wars. So that gives some idea of the era. I don't know when Star Wars came out. And
77, the original one.
Yeah, so this one you had to, it was a bit different. you actually sat inside of like a little booth, and you had to destroy the Death Star. Yes, that gives an idea of the era. And I've been there with a friend, and he was playing the Star Wars game, and so you sit in this booth, and you're Luke Skywalker, and you're in one of those X-wing fighters, and you have to destroy the Death Star, and you fly in, you're shooting all these spacecraft down, and you get into the Death Star, and then on the video game, Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice come over and says, "Use the Force, Luke. Let go, let go." And so my friend, he let go of the controls and crashed. He let go. Anyway, but yeah. So talking about japes, were there any other kind of clan-specific words?
I think yourself and Wes, I mentioned you guys a bit. You sort of used to go hand in hand back in the day, and
Yeah.
I think you guys brought a lot of the toll chock and all stuff from certain movies, from Clockwork Orange. Japes came from Viz Comics. Humorous japes aplenty.
Can you think of any other?
Yeah, a lot of these weren't specific to urban exploring. They were just specific to the cave clans, to our social thing in Melbourne. I know one that I think of was there was a kid I used to go to school with called Max, and he was a funny kid. Like, he actually made you genuinely laugh. He used to, like, it doesn't matter how much effort you put into giving him shit, like as he used to do, stir your mates. You would say, "You're a piece of shit, Max." Maybe you'd put more effort into it, but for the sake of this story, "You're a piece of shit, Max," and he would just say, "You are," and then you'd say, "Oh, you fuck cats, Max. You do," and he would just cut. You couldn't go anywhere with it because he was inadvertently just shutting you down. You just laugh at him, and anyway, so that became quite a thing, and some people still say it to this day. If I said to you, you say, "Oh, you smell, Hugh," and your response would be, "You do," we'd be at a pub and someone would be on a table beside us. They'd be going on about Trotskyist Vanguard and all this sort of stuff. And then you just look at them and go, "You are."
Brain talk. Well, you mentioned toll chock. So what does toll chock mean?
Well, toll chock in the movie is when you hit someone.
And how about no habla?
Yeah, don't know what you mean. I think is on no comment. Like,
how about do you vidi?
Can you see, or whatever? But yeah, a lot of these, because you guys were graffitiists, and I think a lot of these were in sort of came. Maybe you can correct me because I've got no idea, to be honest. I think a lot of those came from your graffiti side of things. I don't think.
Well, how about more clan specific? Like, what is a Lift-O-Matic?
Lift-O-Matic. Rusco made the first Lift-O-Matic. It's just a little metal handheld thing. It's like a T-shaped with a little edge end on the bit that hooks into the manhole. On each manhole has these holes, and then so these are just little. You just put them in your pocket, and then one in each hand, and you can lift a manhole off. Like, you could have two in your pocket, and I could have two, and most manholes have at least four holes. So it was just a manhole lifter, but it was a Lift-O-Matic because I don't know. We just came up with that catchy name, I guess.
They were quite the game changer. The Lift-O-Matic?
They were, actually, and Rusco made shitloads of them. And now, even to this day, there's a guy in Sydney, Drain Bandit. He's a really cool guy. He'd fit in Melbourne really well. He actually barracks for Collingwood, which is weird, living in Sydney. But he likes a beer, and he makes Lift-O-Matics. And this guy in Sydney makes them and leaves hanging up in tunnels for people to find.
Some more client-specific words. What's a 6-foot darkie?
6-foot darkie. This goes back before the clan. We were really surprised. My first drain was Northcote Tech Darkies, and when we met the drain dwellers, they called their local drain was Northcote Golf Course, but they just called it the Darkies. And then when we met these guys called the Bridge Lords, whose local drain was Northcote High, they just called that Darkies. And then we ended up getting someone, I can't remember where it was, but it was like southern Melbourne, south of Melbourne, like down Cheltenham way. who called their local drain the Darkies. So it was just like, I don't know how they became known as Darkies, but anyway, we all called them the Darkies. 6 foot, I don't know, like generally, like us that are more social drain explorers, we don't like going in anything under 6 foot because most of us are over 6 foot. A 6 foot Darkie is all right. The bigger they are, the better, because you don't want to spill your beer. So if you're in a 4 foot drain and you're stooped over, you may spill your beer, and that's kind of almost sacrilegious.
And so these days in the clan, if you said a 6 foot Darkie, would people know what you're talking about?
Yeah, the reason they would is because each time we go to a new state, we would name usually the first drain, but the first decent drain we would call like Brisbane Darkie, Adelaide Darkie. There's Hobart Darkie. And most of the local people, they drop the name, like Hobart off, and they just call it Darkie. So each state has a drain called Darkie, pretty much.
And these interstate drains called the Darkies, they were discovered maybe in the 80s or 90s, I'd guess.
Most of the interstate thing took off like from the summer of 89, 90 to like 94. Yeah, we jump on the coaches up to Sydney or Adelaide. Yeah, we basically drink all the way over until we fall asleep, which is a bad idea because you spend the whole weekend hungover.
Did that usually coincide with the Grand Prix, which was also held in Adelaide back in the day?
No. That was a few people did. Wes Gilligan, those guys would go over for the Grand Prix. I think that was more of a Wes thing. So speaking of the Grand Prix at
Albert Park.
Yeah, we can sneak in through a drain. It's a bit harder now. You basically end up having to crawl through the lake now because they built a deck over the drain inlet. Yeah, like we literally snuck into a couple of Grand Prix. One of them, both times I hardly even watched the race. I just lay down on my back and listened to. Another time we snuck in and saw Kiss. They were playing at the Grand Prix. Hang on a sec.
So I guess these days the cave planners are a little bit more politically correct. So I'm wondering if you haven't come under any pressure to change this name from 6 foot Darkie because of its racial connotations.
Well, we definitely don't use the term the way we used to.
If you're talking about a 6 foot Darkie, some people might take it the wrong way.
Like we used to do the cave clan logo and we would write fear no Darkies, and then later we didn't even realize that that it's a negative way of describing.
I guess the cave plan is a bit more politically correct these days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean the world is more politically correct. So
in your opinion, when were the golden years of the cave clan?
Look, I probably look at it differently to most people. Like, if you spoke to Beans, they would say, I don't know what they'd say, but they might say 2000 to 2005. For me, I just think, barring the first couple of years, which were pretty tedious and sort of a lot of hard work to get things going, I would say the first 30 years were pretty good, like up until 2016. Even though that there was ups and downs, but me looking at it from my point of view, I think that there was like really good parts of it for the first 30 years. There was, even when things might not be going real well in Sydney, they were going well in Melbourne.
Do you think that's because the cave clan used to be smaller and more tight-knit, whereas maybe it's not now? Your comment.
Your comment. When the cave clan was smaller, it was still like the biggest urban exploration group. Like people wanted to join it, to be in the. So even though now it's almost like there used to always be more cave clan urban explorers in Australia. So it might be like 200 cave clan members, and there might be another 50 that weren't in cave clan. I don't know. I'm just rambling figures off. Whereas nowadays, there might be like 200 or 300 cave clan people exploring in Australia, but there's like 5,000 people exploring outside of the cave clan. There's a lot more outside of the cave clan. And the cave clan's like, I used to be like, yeah, let people join. It's a social thing. Whereas now because I have zero to do with that side of it. It's real, like, you've got to be dedicated to drains. You've got to want to crawl through small tunnels, and all that sort of thing. It's not what I like. Like I've said a few times in recent years, I wouldn't join the cave clan. Not as negative as it sounds, I just wouldn't join the cave clan because how the cave clan is nowadays isn't, And when you talk about politically correct, like with the Clanny Awards, once I stopped being involved, they sort of got rid of what they call the negative awards, but what we call the fun awards. Like they got rid of biggest gob off, which was an award for for the member that talked the most shit during the year, or the biggest coward, which was basically when people
What's wrong? What the hell's wrong with the biggest gob off?
I don't know. Same with coward. Like we had people that wanted to try to ring biggest coward, that would not do anything brave in a drain and would use any excuse to get out of going into a drain where you had to get your feet wet. Like Beans used to love winning biggest coward, whereas because of the politically correct thing, you can't call someone a coward. They don't even like having biggest mistake. Like if you nominate someone for biggest mistake and it's actually quite like it's someone really stuffed up. They even hated that. Drain talk.
Brain talk. So I guess when things became politically correct, it kind of coincided with the internet. So do you think that the internet killed the clan?
I think when it was me, Critter, Id, all those guys, I think I don't know. We were probably like the kid with their finger in the dike. Well, that's not politically correct, is it? But we were probably holding it back. And we all left at the same time. When I say left, we split and did our own thing. I think it's just the people that got involved, like Soy. She was extremely politically. She wanted She wanted less swearing on Expo. She wanted no alcohol on exploring and all these sort of things.
Jeez. So anyway, do you think the internet killed the clan?
Not really. No.
Okay.
No, because the internet's been around since probably the 90s. Social media probably caused more damage to not just the clan, to exploring. The clan's sort of gone underground and secretive. So, but urban exploration, generally speaking, nowadays when you find a location, it's going to get out onto through social media. It's going to get so many people are going to find out about it that the place is going to be ruined a lot quicker than it would have back in when we were exploring. Like the Melbourne Power Station was abandoned for years and years and years.
Yeah, okay.
That was a great location. I don't know if you ever went into it, but it was actually graffitiists that got in, and once they started painting on the outside of it. Everyone knew it was abandoned, and that was the beginning of the end. So sometimes it's good because you can see graffiti on a building and you go, "Oh, cool, that's abandoned. Let's go and suss it out." Other times it can bring about the downfall of.
Yeah, okay. So changing tack, Favero. Did I ever meet Favero?
I don't know. You may have.
He looks like he was a pretty shit hot artist, and he did some murals in the drains, but he also did a lot of sketches on paper. And one of the sketches that I've seen somewhere, it's like it's like I think it's like the Yarra maybe in front of Anzac, and there's all these clan people doing various things, riding on a ride. You know the picture I mean?
Yeah, and as people are watching this, it'll be on the screen as they watch it.
Well, that'd make a great T-shirt. I don't know if you could make a T-shirt or even a poster. That's wicked art, man.
Well, I did do it as a A3, like double A3, so two A3 page fold out in. But when I reproduced the Eldrona, it was just too hard to do it again.
I mean, great T-shirt.
It's huge is the problem. It's drawn on two A4 bits of paper that are landscape. So you've got this long, fit it on a shirt, it'd have to be quite narrow, I think.
Hey, put it on the back as well. But anyway, can you tell me about Favero?
Yeah. We only got the PO box in 1990. He contacted us through the PO box, and he lived on the corner of Flinders Street and Spencer Street.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, okay, yeah. Why did he live there? How old was he at that time?
He was an older guy. Like, he was older than us. When you go into his place, he was just really into books. It's just like you walk down his corridors and the books were on each. You couldn't see the walls on each side. There was just books piled up, and he was a bit of a conspiracy theorist. You know, like not a loony, crazy one at all, but he just liked reading about conspiracy theories and that. He'd always wear a black leather jacket. He hated being in photos. I've only got 2 real bad photos of him. As you said, he's very artistic. And he just basically wanted to, like when he contacted us, he wanted to explore tunnels and all that, but he was really open to doing some artwork for us. So he sort of, like Ildrino was pretty bloody shitty, but you could hardly read it. And then, he had this guy doing these really cool comic strips and he did the, the Coca-Cola style cave clan. I guess you just think about it nowadays, it was like, of course someone would come up with the, the dynamic ribbon cave clan. But no one did until he came along and he drew it, he created. He didn't just say, what would be good? Like we'd always be like, what would be good? Whereas he actually did it. And he did a few different designs of stickers and 3 in a drain, which was originally a sticker, which you turned into shirts and jackets and that.
Yep.
Yeah, then one day he just said to me, he goes, I'm going to Adelaide. If anyone asks, I've just gone to Adelaide to visit a friend. After a while, I think I sent him the latest Ildrino or something, and then there was a letter in the PO box, Favreau's sister, and that he died of cancer. So he hadn't really gone to Adelaide. He just didn't want. He just told people that he was going to Adelaide so that he could die in peace. He didn't want to have people coming and visiting him, and so it sounds like he just died alone, sadly, or probably in a
hospice.
Yes, hospice. But he was an awesome guy. He was like, you could talk to him for hours. I'll tell you a funny little story.
Yep.
Obviously, he knew he was dying. He said to Wes and I, he was showing us these maps he had from Sydney, and it was just a drain map, and he was showing that it goes under a bank.
Wow.
And it was like a proper blueprint, just a drain map, but it was a proper. I mean, he didn't just draw it; it was a proper thing. And there was just this pipe, I don't know, like a 7-foot pipe, and it did go underneath, cut the corner, and go under this bank.
That would have interested Wes.
Yeah, no comment. But anyway, was talking to us, and he started talking about we should go up to Sydney and suss it out and see if we can, maybe we just dig through a few bricks and, maybe you can get into the bank and all this sort of stuff. And we thought, oh, this is pretty full on. And he seemed pretty into it. He brought it up a few times and he got plans and he was finding out more information about it. I kind of think that maybe, because he knew he was dying of cancer, he thought, oh, fuck it, I'm going to do something. I'm going to try and do something full on, But which he would have dragged Wes and I down with him, but he would have been dying. He would have died, and we would have been doing 20 years.
Brain talk.
Brain talk.